There is so much that I want to say to you and share with you. I have been starving to talk to you, and this is much better than nothing, because I can at least feel the possibility of you hearing it one day. My name is June Collier. My name is June Collier, and this is my retrospective. Staying at Talk Hills, but they got ill and didn't want to rent the place out because it was like home for us, wasn't it? Especially the cats. It's the hair. You haven't seen them at night before, at this time of day, have you? That's interesting. Hetty, as ever we knew her, has gone. She was so empty, so sad. Hetty, as we ever knew her, has gone. The woman left behind has almost nothing inside. The 24th of October 2005. She died on October the 19th at 19:46 hours. She looked as if she would die on October the 4th. Between us, Rich more than me, we were with her throughout the day when she died. Palliative care took the pain to a minimum. I was with her 3¼ to 3½ hours after she stopped breathing, photographed her, and drew her for about an hour. It didn't feel right to leave her so soon. How could you take a photograph of her? Hetty said, "I'm such a mess on the inside." Hetty said that the beautiful white orchids I gave her were falling sideways, implying that they should have been standing bolt upright, the way that she does. The story is that when she married my dad, she hadn't played table tennis, and someone gave them a table tennis table for a wedding present. And he said to her, "I'll teach you to play and I'll get you to play for England." That's just what he did. Very vital and energetic, right into her old age.
Side of her.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I told you this or not, but it was as if she stole my energy. She had so much energy, and I didn't. And I felt she'd stolen my energy. It was me who helped Bruce, whereas she didn't. You know, she wasn't at the funeral and didn't know when he was buried, to be told. During all this illness, I just kept getting this feeling I'm collecting all this information, but I'm not going to use it. But then, during the actual dying process, and especially after she'd gone, I terribly wanted to have photographs of the last, very, very end of her life. And I took 27 plus 12 photos of my mother dead. And when she was dead, I was interested in making pictures of her. And what struck me as I was just arriving here, I had a tiny bit of time to think in. I guess I'm really glad my mother's dead, and I'm really glad to have these pictures that she's saying she's dead. I felt, and I'd like to really know what you think about this. I used to imagine that people in their death process, that it might take 2 or 3 days, but that they went through a vast amount of, I don't know the right expression, but accounting for their life in the world and blah, blah, blah. But my feeling with Hetty was that I didn't feel it was particularly happening yesterday, but I did feel it was happening over all these months when she'd been slowly disintegrating.
I mean, I had the sense that there were actually 3 reviews, and one may well have started a long time ago when she's been going through that process, and that's playing the tapes backwards from present to past.
Right.
That's the first tape. And the second tape is seeing the tapes again in the light this time of how other people experienced you. Yeah? And then the third tape is how the life is in relation to the destiny, the intention of coming. And
I couldn't follow some more.
How the life has been in relation to the destiny.
Sitting in a clear, light space, and me feeling unable to explain, but deeply wanting to be able to understand something historical, an urgency. When you have a movement forward towards the light, there's something always there to drag you back towards the darkness. Illustrating, showing the direction of my path, showing the effectiveness of, impact of my spiritual path, my truth, my reality. The studio has always been the place where I meet myself, and just below the surface of these works you can find the story of my life. This series of works are milestones for me, marking out stages of my life and growth and illustrating the direction of my spiritual path. As a child, I was utterly lost from myself. The studio has always been the place where I meet myself. And just below the surface of these works, you can find the story of my life. Within them, you can find the stories of my relationship to the people close to me, of my loneliness, and of my gradual release from the constraints of others' expectations, influence, into much more freedom and singing my own song. The freedom to sing my own song and tell my own story. The 20th of January 1977. Last night I was looking at the 5-year diary I kept from 1957 to 62 and thought how nice it would have been if I'd kept it more carefully. Even so, it was interesting to have some real record of who I was then. And then I thought that I wanted to try to write better now, for when I am old, perhaps. The 26th of January 1977. I went to the Tavistock this morning re-getting more therapy. What happened was interesting. I got very hung up when talking about my brother Bruce and his death. It is obviously the next area to be tackled and quite important. I seem to have a strange emotional attachment to that time. The silence surrounding Bruce's death, Clive's birth the same day, being put to bed with my legs clamped together, etc. I think in some ways I identify with Bruce, as if in some way I am him. Is that why sometimes I seem to be dead? I seem to want to reach Bruce in some way. Do I go dead to do that? Is he inside me? Do I refuse to be happy until I have mourned him properly? It is as if I treasure him inside me and look after him. Perhaps that's why I refuse to be really happy. Bruce. Does all my unhappiness look like Bruce? The 10th of October 2004. Meditation, then started working on the thyroid chakra after the heart pineal circulation and sitting. John, Dad, came forward with his foot on my throat, my expression. You are not allowed to speak out. You must only say what I want you to say, or I will withdraw my love from you and never return it. My brothers torturing me. My mother not interested and unable to take it in. But the problem in me is not with women. Women have responded to me and respected me all my adult life. The problem primarily has been with men. The one male I connected with, Bruce, dying, and his death being denied. And then all the other men who have rubbished me all my life, as my torturing brothers did, moaning Minnie, etc., and left me. From Dad and brothers onward, it has always been like that. None of the men seemed to want my love. Why did you let Bruce die? I'd like to hear what they're like. Is it nearly ready?
Very nearly ready.
Richie, when we go tomorrow to IKEA, my plan is to get some blinds for here,
Yeah.
which are the sort, I've forgotten the name of them, the slatted ones.
Yeah.
So that at night, in the hot weather,
Venetian.
yes.
Very good.
Isn't that right?
I think that's a very good idea. That's very good.
I'm also thinking of getting them for the lounge, but as summer's nearly over, I thought I'd try them here
them
first.
out. Yes, that's good. Good idea.
Richie, do you know what? Even walking through the street with a Jewish chronicle in my hand, I felt slightly self-conscious. And you know, I'm glad my father changed his name, and
It's awful.
glad I'm married to a shit.
A guy.
Goy.
Gosh, Jimmy, it's awful.
28th of the 1st, 2003.
Can you imagine how you would feel if, when you were small, only 3 years old and very unhappy, if your mummy and daddy and nanny locked you up every night, every single night, clamped your legs together, locked them straight tight together all the way down in a hard, solid leg brace with metal teeth and leather straps? Can you imagine the endlessness and overwhelmingness of the fear, the hugeness of it, the bottomless black hole eating you up of it? If someone comes to kill me now, there is no one to save me. I'm trapped, held here, ready for them to kill me. Every night forever afterwards, I went round and round the room, looking in the wardrobe, under the bed, behind the curtains, locking the door, locking the window, trying to protect myself from the one who was coming to kill me. I must stay awake then. Maybe if I scream, someone will hear me. But I had so much fear that I lost my voice. And on the bus on the way to school in the morning, I still had not been able to find it again. So I could not have screamed anyway. The 16th of January 2002, Luce suggested the following meditation about Bruce. Visualize him, contact your heart, and move light from the heart to surround his head and face, and see what comes forward. It was as if he was there, present with me, and that in itself was very moving and strong. Then we talked. He said, I love you, and I will always love you. I had to leave you. I didn't want to, but I had no choice. But I can't come back, and you must let go of trying to get me back, because you need to make a relationship with someone else, a grown man, and it stops you doing that. But I shall always be here, and you can always talk to me. Really curious thing happened this morning. I had a really sweet connection with Richie, and it was very sweet, and we're often very childish together. It's the first time that I recall being aware of this happening. And I really felt as if I got my brother back. And it was quite a special moment, and it was quite difficult to tell him because I didn't know how he would react. But I told him, that's all. So that's the story. But it's interesting that it linked with us doing that last night. when we die, starting with the feet, the energy detaches itself slowly up the body. So it starts at the feet, and little by little the energy field detaches itself. And when it gets to the area around the solar plexus and the heart, it can spend quite a lot of time there while you have the opportunity to work out certain issues that you need to work out before you leave. And it can be there for weeks and weeks for some people, while they're dealing with things they haven't dealt with in their life and need to deal with before they depart. Now, when it releases from there, it then goes up to above the head where the silver cord is, and it's attached to between a point at the back of the head and above the head. There's a point called the individuality point, which is your connection to higher consciousness and the universal. And when it reaches there, the silver cord snaps and the subtle body disappears. You move on somewhere when you die, and what doing the serious meditation helps you understand that there's a larger place to be than just our everyday running around after this, that and the other. That there's a larger space that's deeper and more real than what we have in our daily lives, actually. And once you begin to clock that, you get more hungry for it. So you want to do more.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
When I got cancer the second time,
I was ready to die. And I didn't want to go through all the things you have to go through to solve it. And for a couple of weeks I said, no, I'm not going to go through all that. I can't bear the hospital stuff. I'm going to have palliative care, and I'm going to let myself die. I came to understand why, because it's a very isolated life being an artist. And I felt in jail in my life in some way. I remember was my perception in the meditation. What I said then is applicable now. One of the issues was wanting to do something with another human being. You think it's meant a huge amount to me doing this with you. That's so much. I'm so grateful for it, really. As you can see. As you can see. I mean, growing old is tough. And it's such a gift for me. It's such a gift for me that this wonderful person is in my life and is interested in engaging with me and doing these things with me. And that my work is maybe going to be seen by people more, which was the other thing I needed, my expression. Again, at this point in my life, how many people have that blessing? You get to this age and people probably feel pretty finished if they don't have grandchildren or whatever, And I've got all these amazing things going on. Maybe I'm going to die and my work will have been seen. I had the thought that when I die, June will no longer exist. I will leave behind June. When I go, there will be this thing left behind, which is a bit like June. And that seemed rather fascinating. Do you see what I mean?